If you love Stranger Things, critic Darren Frenick is gonna piss you off about Stranger Things 2. If you don't love it, he probably will just piss you off for being this dumb. What's going on, guys? If it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also the little bell right next to it. And once you've finished watching this video, let us know what you thought of this person's review of Stranger Things Season 2 and what you thought of Stranger Things Season 2 in general. Now let's take a look at this stupid critic. Sometimes success is all in the timing. Stranger Things was Karaoke Cinema, but circa July 2016. What else was on offer? Karaoke Cinema. Actually, that sounds fun. Someone needs to make that a game, where you have to quote the lines as they scroll. You do it as a group and act things out. Awkward love scenes. This sounds great. We need to make this. No one steal this idea, even though we are, from this guy. A bored 13th Star Trek and an uninspired 3rd Ghostbusters and a terrible 4th Bourne where Matt Damon punched Facebook? What? What does that mean? I am literally speechless because I don't know what that means. It's like accidentally walking into Latin class. The f*** are you people talking about? Although technically, you know, criticism is a dead language. Game of Thrones had just ended. The Zeit needed a Geist. So, by late July, you were getting invitations to Stranger Things parties, and everyone was talking about Barb. It's not like all of a sudden people were talking about Stranger Things at all. We've been talking about it since the thing ended. Like, holy crap, when is the next thing coming out? Even if you're not a fan, you can realize that everyone was still talking about it. I don't know where you were living. Clearly not on this planet. The algorithm behind Stranger Things, particular nostalgia, the nostalgia rhythm, was obvious. Man, I just hate you for that word. You know, I'm all for a bad play on words and a bad pun, but I know this is gonna be followed by something stupid. A group of Goonies rode ET bikes with their pal Dark Phoenix, while the local teens pretty and pinked until they Halloweened. Yeah, we get it, it's referential. You have to have more than this. You're literally just stating the obvious. And the reason why a lot of people like it. So far, great job noticing what everyone noticed. It's like you see a girl with just like a huge blemish covering half of her face. It's more interesting if you notice her new haircut. But a lack of originality was never this show's problem. When you go to see an 80s cover band, you're not listening for new material. You could appreciate how writer-directors Matt and Ross Duffer took the extra fan-fictional step of throwing all their action figures together into one lost Amblintopia, making Hawkins, Indiana their own hyper-specific version of Once Upon a Time Storybrooke. Man, you really think that referential is a little bit more than referential. Once Upon a Time actually has Robin Hood and Belle. This doesn't have Venkman in it. It has a little kid dressed up as Venkman because they're in the fucking 80s. What do you want him to do? Of course he's gonna dress up like that for Halloween. He's gonna dress up like something in the future? Like, wow, it's really weird that this kid in the 80s dressed up as Harry Potter. How do you fucking know? So many other white dude directors who grew up in the Reagan era are approaching middle age, having made careers from rebooting our most beloved franchises with much simpler strategies. Star Wars, but with the Death Star again. Transformers, but with King Arthur. There are worse ideas than girl-talking 80s genre classics into a synth-heavy stew. Wow, your review's starting to sound a little referential. Yeah, you are gonna hate Ready Player One for sure. And also, white dude directors, what does that have to do with anything? They're white? I'm pretty sure that like anyone over 30 would love to remake something from the 80s, no matter what color they are. Like, that has nothing to do with it. It just so happens that people like Michael Bay have the clout and the money to do it. That's literally it. Plus, someone like Michael Bay had to be told to make Transformers. He didn't actually like Transformers, he was told that it would be successful. The Duffer Brothers clearly like the 80s. They didn't have to be told. Just like Star Wars being made by people who love Star Wars. That's okay, and it's gonna happen. And it has nothing to do with them being white. Nice girl talk reference though. Man, 15 years ago called. It wants its reference back. Stranger Things 2 settles in for 5 straight hours of pure unfiltered Netflix bloat. It's an insult, but I don't even know what you're insulting. I don't even know how that's an insult. I know it is one. It's like someone on a playground like insults you, but you have no idea what the insult meant, so you don't even get a comeback. You're just fucking confused. And it seems like they won. And you're like, damn it. You didn't win, I just have no idea what you meant. And that's when you just hit them. You're just like, you confused me. Tantalizing possibilities are hinted at, then hinted at again, a full episode later. Yeah, it's really weird that this interesting sci-fi slash thriller show would create suspense and tension. That's odd. The cast remains full of delightful performers, but they sprawl in different directions, many of them boring. You know what's awesome? I have this weird feeling that if they weren't kids, you would be railing these actors like it's their fault you didn't like it. But the fact that most of them are children, you're treading a line. So, oh, they're delightful performances from these young actors. It's more the directing and the writing that did it. But if it was like Matt Damon punching a Facebook or whatever the f that meant, you'd be like, Matt Damon sucks. It's all his fault. Nancy feels sad about Barb, a storyline that feels like a sop to Barb fandom. She was barely in this show. People grew an attachment to her and she fucking died. They just wrote it well. You're mad at them for writing well? For having you connect to a character that quickly? That's good. That's impressive. That's shut up. Man, I'm getting like playground insulty now. All right. Which has the doubly ruinous effect of sending Nancy circling back through plot left over from the first season. Yeah, because we want to know. I mean, one of the interesting things about this season, and there is no spoilers in this, by the way, everyone who's watching this, but one of the most interesting things about this season is the fact that everyone's not okay with what happened. Normally, when people write sequels, when people continue stories in television shows, something crazy happens, and then they walk around like everything's okay. If that happened, Nancy would not be okay. So it's good that they're doing that. It's realistic. Even though like a lot of the stuff in this show is not really realistic. But at least that character development is. I mean, let's just leave holes. That's what you want. It's like, let's just have an open-ended thing at the end of the first season and then explain nothing in the second season. And that's the effect of a lot of this season, actually. Joyce is freaked out by the possibility that Will hasn't recovered from his time in the Upside Down, a subplot that gives you flashbacks to the last 50 times Winona Ryder looked really, really worried. You have a really hard time getting into the minds and emotions of a character if this is what you're thinking while watching this. If she's just like, you know what? You're fine. Everything's fine. I mean, you went to another weird dimension that was all f***ed up, but you're good. I'm not worried anymore because you're back. Are you crazy? That's absolutely insane. Don't have children. And if you do, give them to somebody else. You're talking like you're a fucking speak and spell. Will's in a bad place, which you already knew from last season's cliffhanger. Full credit to Schnapp, a phantom presence last year, for delivering a sensitively freaked out performance. He's smaller than the other performers and seems constantly likely to break into dust from sheer fright. So, fair enough. You liked his performance. I can accept that. Although, part of his performance is the fact that he's freaked out and his mom's worried about him. But whereas Will's disappearance was an immediately inciting incident last year, this time, Will's gradual upward descent slow burns for a long time. Will has a scary vision. Whoops, I just spoiled the first few cliffhangers. No, it happened at the end of the first season, of course. That's why they left it open-ended. That's why they're still talking about the things that, God damn it, did you watch the first season? You just watched the previously on Stranger Things, or some fucking, like, Stranger Things in 3 minutes YouTube video or something like that. You didn't watch it. It's really what it sounds like. Will has to be saved, but didn't you see this one already? You know what? Every Mario game you play, the princess has to be saved. I still like them all. Actually, there's some that kind of suck, but most of them are really good. Stranger Things 1 was slow too, but there was a feeling of discovery on all fronts. You think maybe because it's new? It's new. It was new. It's the first season. I felt like I was meeting all these characters for the first time. You were. There are some fun character beats in this new season, but they exist separate from the plot, as if the writers plotted 2 episode arcs for all the characters and then split them across 9 episodes of all too familiar supernatural stuff. Well, I mean, there's a lot of characters, a lot of things going on. The arcs are necessary for character development. Man, do I really have to explain this to you? This is tiring. It's like trying to explain things to a fucking speaking spell. Speaking spell callback. This season, there are more creatures. A horde of undifferentiated things climbing cavern walls and haunting corridors, always threatening to kill only the characters you barely care about. You know, no one seems to get mad in Star Trek, or anything else. I understand that now we have Game of Thrones, and everyone dies, but we also have Walking Dead, and Rick's still kicking. In binge mode, it's just a bore, which only gets worse when Eleven sets off on a mission to uncover her secret origin. Or I'm sorry, her secret origin. I missed the sigh. You know what? We all wonder. People who watch the show want to know where she came from, why she's like she is, who she is. She's one of the most, if not the most interesting characters on the show. Let it happen. Stop getting mad about character development and people getting emotionally invested in a show that's written and directed well. If you don't like it, that's fine. But bashing it for the things you're bashing it for are just stupid. They don't make any sense. I mean, I hate Riverdale, but man, they developed some characters and people are attached to that shit. Thank you guys so much for watching. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell right next to it. Also, we'd love to see in the comments your thoughts on Stranger Things Season 2 and your thoughts of this crazy, dumb review. If you want to see another one from us, click one of the videos on the screen, and until we see you next time, geek out and game on.